We had a recent comment on the channel regarding, it was a valuable contribution, and I want to thank the sister for making the contribution, because what she stated was her concern that oftentimes when you have Sisterlocks and Microlocks, you aren't always made aware of what the maintenance costs are. What an amazing 2024 update of the lovely Sheila, who has been using the I Am Melanin Magic products for over 2.5 years. She looks marvelous, and so can you. Are you tired of struggling with hair growth and thinning strands? Release the magic in your locks and tresses with I Am Melanin Magic hair oils. A premium blend of all natural ingredients strengthens, restores, and revitalizes your hair for maximum health and growth. Don't let thinning hair
straightened hair
brand. Upgrade your hair care game today.
So are you.
I Am Melanin Magic hair oil. It's not the sort of thing that the locticians emphasize. And so I wanted to talk about that because that is a legitimate concern, and I definitely agree with that. In the same token, or in the same conversation, I really want to emphasize, depending upon your situation, the investment is definitely worth it. Now, I'm not talking about it being worth it if you have a loctician that's charging you $300 to $500 every 4 to 6 weeks. And that is something that is actually going on in regions of the country. I'm talking about if you're happy with your journey, if you have a price that feels comfortable to you and your hair is thriving, it's definitely worth it. Let's get into it. Welcome to Tunisia's Locs, Beauty Tips and Potpourri, also known as the I Am Melanin Magic brand. Also, for those of you who are looking for something that is going to hold the scent, give you a nice refresher, but also a few extra days of shine and luster for your dry locks, go ahead to the website and get this. I'm telling you, this Cucumber Kiwi Delight. Not only is it a power blend of essential oil ingredients, including the burdock, the pomegranate, the kiwi, and the cucumber, and some other oils as well. It smells beautiful. And because it's a dry oil, it will do different things to your hair depending upon your hair's texture and your normal upkeep routine. So give it a shot. It's on sale right now, and it is wonderful. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is a real important topic. If you already have Sisterlocks and Microlocks, it's important. But if it's something that you are looking into and you're perusing websites and you're trying to get accurate information, I gotta tell you, the range of prices for maintenance to get your retightenings is far and wide. There are some things you can do to get around this, but at the end of the day, it's important that you understand anywhere from about 4 to the average, anywhere from about 4 to 8 weeks, you're going to be getting these retightenings, and it needs to be something that is within your budget. If it's not, you got a couple of options. Either take them out, get the training that will allow you to do your own retightenings, become a do-it-yourselfer, which I became and successfully thrived for years while I was still getting my retightenings. So you have becoming a do-it-yourselfer as an option, or find someone else that you can teach how to do your hair. And although that can sound crazy for a lot of people, it is a very viable option. There's so many middle school and high schools around your area where you have aspiring students and future cosmetologists and master locticians, or just kids who have gifted hands who would love to get in your hair and start doing your retightenings, provided you could tell them what your pattern is, how you like to have your retightenings done, show them, or at least be able to discuss an adequate amount of tension and give them some idea about the basics around interlocking. It's really not that simple. I did portions of my hair very early in my journey, all the way up through the end of my Sisterlocks journey. So it's something worth seriously considering. Now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about these prices. Put in the comments what you are paying for your retightenings and where you are paying this at, i.e. what part of the country you're in. If you haven't joined our Discord, please go into the link or the pinned comments or the description, click on the link and join the Discord and share in there. That's a community that I created for people from all lots of life, all walks of life. Doesn't matter what type of locks you have. You can upload your videos, your shares, your wins, your disappointments, your hacks, whatever your tips may be. If you're a loctician, you can put your information in the loctician thread and you can let people know where you're located and where you're, making your services available. If you're someone that has any type of lock, you might also want to recommend a particular loctician or to give some constructive feedback that may help others. That's also available in the Discord. All you have to do is download the Discord app and the link is in the description. So what I want you to understand is whether or not you can afford to maintain the style depends on how frequently you're going to be getting your retightenings, and also who the person is that is doing your retightenings, what they're charging, and also maybe for some of you where they're located. Now, when I moved out to the boonies, I had to travel two and a half almost hours to get to Efraj. So if you're traveling, then you're going to need to factor in the travel expense. Okay, now those things are really important because when you set out on this journey, it can seem like your forecast makes you feel as though this is something that you can do forever. And if you're fortunate, that will be your story. If you have a great loctician, if this person is taking care of your hair, if your hair is not suffering from the retightenings and some of the other at-risk rituals that you've heard me talk about here on this channel for a number of years now, then you're going to fare well. But one thing that you're going to have to always do if you're not a do-it-yourselfer is find a person that is reliable, that you can go the distance with, and something that is affordable. And so that affordability can be determined by how often you're having to get your retightenings. Paying a monthly bill if you're on a 4-week retightening schedule, which I definitely will give you that caveat. Don't do it. Don't do it, Miss Seeley. Don't let anyone talk you into getting a 4-week retightening unless their hands on your head feels like cotton balls. Then maybe you can sit down and have a discussion. But if it's tight, if it's hurting, if the tension is too much, if you're hearing the friction, if you're hearing your strands pop, if they're washing your hair and they're not tenderly untangling it, you're going to be in trouble. Mark my words. It is just a matter of time. Barring that though, if you can find this person who you really love doing your hair, you have a good rapport with them, you trust them, and they're going to be around for a minute. They're not a pop-up shop. They're not somebody who's getting ready to go on maternity leave and leave you hanging, or someone who may be moving soon, or someone who just does not like what they do and they're tired of doing it. And so eventually they're going to shift because they're tired of the work and the being on your feet and the carpal tunnel. We have to respect our locticians because they have a difficult job and they deserve to be paid. The question is their rate going to be compatible for you? And is the frequency, the amount of times in a year that you're going to have to go and get your retightening done, is it something that you can work with? If it feels like it's too much, consider what you can take out of your life that you're not needing. For example, maybe you're getting your fingernails done. I would say your hair is more important than getting your nails done. And nails today, the gel set, when I go get my toenails done, I can't even believe it. And I've got gel polish and powder for the S&N nails all over my bathroom, and I'm getting ready to start learning how to use it because I can't fathom paying $68 for a pedicure. I just think that's insane. And they shifted to that because of the fact that with the gel nails, you don't have to come back as frequently. So they raised the price because the actual products are really not that much more expensive beyond a couple of dollars. So my point is with you, if you find that perfect person, and you can settle in with the rate, you are good to go. But if not, you're going to have to decide how you're going to pivot. What you want to consider is how often your loctician is recommending that you go in for your retightenings. All right. For most people, it's between 6 to 8 weeks. So that's what you're going to have to budget for. If it seems like long term, that may not be something that you can do on a regular basis because of the price she's charging. See first what things you can take out of your life that you don't need, like getting your nails done or like getting that coffee or going out for dinner 3 times a month or once a week. See if you cannot eliminate some of those things. Maybe keeping things in your cart in Amazon for 3 or 4 days before you hit that buy button. All right. Or before you submit that order, and seeing if you can find other ways to cut costs. Maybe it means you're going to have to cut your grass once a month instead of paying somebody else to come and do it. If the lock style is worth it, and to me it is, I cannot trade, and I cannot trade the value of being beautiful every day, having great hair every day, hair that feels good, hair that looks good, and hair that is thriving. I can't trade that for the relaxer I used to have, even when I went into trying twists for a while. And believe me, I was never a person that spent more than 5 to 7 minutes in the mirror in the morning. And I'm still that person. So that wasn't the issue. It was everything else that went into it. My hair is thriving. Your hair will thrive provided you do the things that you need to do. And if you're not sure what they are, make sure you get my ebook from the I Am Melanin Magic website. It will be out before the new year. I'm working on it because I'm adding a section on knotted locks, because as you know, I have been through that journey and in many respects have gone through the ringer, having lost more than, if I actually were counting, it probably would exceed 15. But my hair is coming back. I'm happy with where I am right now on the journey. That remains to be seen, but I'm going to give you the truth. I'm also going to be discussing a lot of things that you need to know when it comes to Sisterlocks and Microlocks that not a lot of people discuss. We got some excellent locticians out here, but they are far and few between. You have the cream of the crop always, and then you have everybody else. You have people that love what they do, that bring value, that bring education, that collaborate with you on the journey, and then you have people that don't. So when you can find a good loctician, bar none, you are very, very fortunate. So let's say, for example, you are doing every 6 weeks. And you are paying $125 or $150, which to me is a great rate. Today, that is a steal. Anything below that with quality, you better sign a contract and see if you can get her to continue to give you that rate, bar none moving into the future. Or at the very least, if you can't lock in, you need to give her a great tip so that you can show your appreciation. That's something I always recommend, is giving a tip. I never gave a tip less than $25. Sometimes I gave more than that, but that was a general rule. So my retightenings were always at $150 the majority of the time. Every now and then I would go to my backup loctician, who's also on the channel, and you'll see her video, beautiful sister Naka in the Metro Atlanta area, also Naka Naturals in Smyrna, and I would pay $175, I think, for the last 2 times that I had a retightening, and that was more or less because it took quite a while. But those were sisters who I was very satisfied with. I was at that $125 rate with Efraj the entire journey. So we're talking about 13, 14 years, right? That was beautiful. And I was always satisfied with the work that she did on my hair and how she maintained my locks. So that's a situation where, you know, if you're happy and you know that that's what it's going to be, and you have a good rapport with your loctician, which can feel like a friendship, and you really got to be able to judge that, because many sisters have had great relationships with their locticians that they thought were friendships, and it turned out to be the opposite. So you really want to trust your intuition with that. And you want to always get a sense of, are they satisfied with the rate that you're paying them? Because sometimes when the rate increases happen, they feel exponential. They may go up $50. Now, as I mentioned, $150 is considered to me very fair. $125 is excellent today. Sometimes you can have a a trainee that will do it for less than that, and consider yourself lucky. But there are many people who are easily and regularly paying $200, and that is notwithstanding anything that they may have to ask their loctician to do. For example, to repair a few locks, to deal with any slippage or any other concerns, and that doesn't always include a wash. So you need to be very clear about that. And in forecasting, you need to always know that it's wise to have a backup loctician no matter what, even if you have to keep that relationship active by going to that person maybe twice a year. All right, because at some point you are likely going to need that. And the other backup is to begin to play in your hair and just experiment with what it is to do a retightening on a few locks. It is so easy. And trust me, you're not going to mess your locks up in the way they look. If you don't get the pattern 100% right, your hair is going to lock, because that's what our hair does. It locks. And there are very few mistakes that you can make that aren't reversible. Even if you marry a couple of locks, if you have someone that loves you and is very patient, they can help you take that out as well. God shine down the glory on Naima, my daughter. But I gotta tell you, she couldn't get the knot out after 4 hours. The knots are no joke. You cannot play with those, okay? And that was very early on my journey when I realized that. But with the interlocking, there are things you can do. If someone is really patient, they got a good amount of lighting, and they know they're very perceptive and they're very attentive to detail, they can assist you with that. It's not the end of the world. You can manage a few of your locks if you have to. And if something happened like what we dealt with during the last 4 years with the health issue, you need to be prepared to be able to do that. But there are sisters who are paying upwards of $200. I'm talking about $300 every 4 and 5 weeks. Can you imagine? And one told me even $500 in Washington and New York. That's astronomical. And you have to ask yourself, is that something that you can maintain? When we're talking about that number, you're looking at over $100 an hour for a retightening. That's quite a bit. It's not a lot when you consider an install. I will continue to say, if you have to pay $2,000 for an install or more than that for someone who's going to give you a beautiful head of hair, who's going to pay attention to detail and make you feel as though you have the investment that you are paying for, it's going to be worth it in the long run. But when we're talking about maintenance, that same $100 an hour is not realistic. It can feel very punitive. It can feel very disillusioning. It can feel very de-energizing for you if you end up in a situation like that. So be mindful. Don't be afraid to seek out a trainee. Don't be afraid to train someone. Don't be afraid to do your own. Don't be afraid to shop around for a price or a loctician who you're more compatible with in terms of price. But what I don't want you to do is this. I don't want you to shop for price and give up value. You have to find a happy medium. And this is the case. Even if you're a veteran, I was talking to a sister in a hair appraisal a few weeks ago, and I was encouraging her to be open to someone who's newly trained, and to also be open to finding someone who just loves to do hair. Okay. I am sure I had my 3 girls, my 2 daughters and my stepdaughter. I'm sure that at some point in my journey, probably more than one time, but I'm sure of one time I had them in my hair, having shown them how to do a retightening with what is my favorite tool, as y'all know, which conveniently I have several of them, but this thing here. This was my best friend. And I had the nappy lock tool, the London lock tool. I had the sister lock tool. I had the crochet. This is my go-to. And it's still my go-to now, because in the last few months, I am interlocking the front of my hair for reasons of which I discuss in some of my videos and in the Righteous Hair course, which you can link to in the description. But what I'm saying is, Understand that there is maintenance, okay? And the maintenance around price can be cost prohibitive if you are not expecting it, or if you are not sure how much variation has been in your loctician's price. If you're coming in new to Sisterlocks and Microlocks, be mindful of the fact that the price that you're going to be quoted is probably not the price that people a year or two before you were quoted. So ask your loctician or your potential loctician, how much more have your prices increased, say, over the last 2 or 3 years, so that I know if I move forward with you, what I might be looking at sometime down the line. It's important that you get a handle on this. It's also important that you understand that the difference between Microlocks and Sisterlocks at this stage of the game, as it relates to pricing, is less and less and less. The installs are right up there with Sisterlocks in most of the cases. And because of time, we're talking about time now, and people are not charging by the project like they used to. They're charging by the time. That's how you get over the $2,000 mark easy, because that's 20 hours, $100 an hour. We're talking about people who are charging $3,200, $3,300, $3,400. They're charging over $130 an hour for something over a period of days, and that person is making $3,000 in a 3-day period, and they're comfortable with that. You have to decide, are you comfortable with that? And if that is their price for an install, what is their price for maintenance, and what does that entail? And like I said, with Sisterlocks and Microlocks, they're coming more neck and neck, meaning the prices are the same for the retightenings. And if they're not the same and continuing to rise, you may save a few extra dollars, but it's not going to be anything that's going to be consistent on a regular basis. So do understand, it's going to depend on how often you're getting those retightenings. I will tell you, from here to doomsday, 8 to 10 weeks. That's what's going to be healthiest for your hair. That's not always going to be what your loctician tells you. Past the first couple of years, 8 to 10 weeks is something that most people can work within. I was at the 11 to 12 weeks for the majority of my journey. From the beginning of my journey, I was at 8 to 10 weeks. When I stretched it to 10 weeks during the first year, I didn't like the result of what my hair looked like because I had a few knots. But that was early in the journey. As my locks began to get used to, or as my hair began to get used to the locks, it was different. And so I began to be able to stretch it out. And that's what I would say is going to be best for you in terms of pricing and in terms of your hair health. So hopefully this video helps you somewhat. Leave me comments in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts are, how much you're already paying for your Sisterlocks and your Microlocks installs and your retightenings, and where you're located in the country. That's very important. Doesn't matter if you're a veteran or you're a newbie. I'd love to know, and I'd love the other sisters on the channel to also be able to get some information as well. Don't forget to shoot yourself on over to Discord so that you can share your thoughts, your videos, your ideas, and even links over there on Discord. Don't forget to take a trip over to the I Am Melanin Magic website so that you can take advantage of pre-holiday sales. Our prices have not been this low in the history of I Am Melanin Magic, and that is being done for strategic reasons and heart-based reasons. So get on over there and take advantage of these prices, because unless and until I can, negotiate with some of my suppliers for better prices, things have been going up and they continue to go up, and I'm doing everything that I can to keep things at a buyable level. Don't forget, Cucumber Kiwi Delight will not only delight your senses, it will delight your hair. Love you always. If you have not purchased my Manifesting Your Masterpiece book, you can get it on Amazon. For those of you who love my energy and you're all about that spiritual growth and development, check me out on Spiritually Initiated and Crowned. Love you.